She screamed with joy when the lottery machine announced $10 million. My daughter clutched the ticket, hugged me once, and by the very next day, she kicked me out of my own home. She thought the fortune was hers. But what she never noticed was the name written on the back of that ticket, my name. My name is Richard, and I am 68 years old. For most of my life, I worked with my hands carpentry, odd jobs, fixing whatever people in my small town needed. I never made much money, but I raised my daughter, Emily, with every ounce of love a father could give. She was my only family after her mother passed away when Emily was just 12. I sacrificed everything for her, my savings, my health, even my dreams, so she could have a better future. But somewhere along the way, Emily changed. Maybe it was the city life, maybe it was her friends, maybe it was just greed. She became distant, cold, always reminding me that I had nothing to offer in this modern world. Still, I never complained. A father's heart. It forgives more than it should. One rainy afternoon, everything changed. Emily came rushing into the house, her face lit up like I hadn't seen in years. In her hand, she clutched a crumpled piece of paper, a lottery ticket. She shouted, "Dad, we did it! We won! $10 million. My old heart almost stopped. 10 million? It felt unreal. For a brief moment, I thought maybe, just maybe, life was giving us one last gift. I hugged her, tears in my eyes, thinking of how our lives would finally change. No more worrying about bills, no more leaky roof, no more hunger in winter. But that night, Emily's tone shifted. She sat across from me at the dinner table, eyes sharp, voice colder than the rain outside. "Dad, I need to be honest. This money, it's mine. You wouldn't know how to handle it. You'd just waste it." Her words stabbed deeper than any knife. Mine? I thought. Had she forgotten? Whose name had been scribbled on the back of that ticket when we bought it at the gas station together? I said nothing. I just sat there, staring at my plate, listening as she painted her grand plans, mansions, cars, vacations. Not once did she mention me. Not once did she say, we. That night, as I lay awake in my small, creaking bed, I began to realize winning the lottery had not changed my daughter. It had revealed her true self. And soon, she would prove it in the cruelest way possible. The sun had barely risen when I woke up to the sound of shuffling at the door. I thought Emily was leaving early to claim her prize. But no, it was my suitcase. My old, beaten suitcase. Packed with my clothes, my photographs, even my late wife's shawl. Everything I owned was stuffed inside as if I were some unwanted guest. Emily stood there, arms crossed, her expression sharp and impatient. "Dad, I'm moving into the city today. The house will be sold. You need to go." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. This house had been our life. The walls carried Emily's childhood laughter. The kitchen held the smell of my wife's cooking. The garden still bore the roses I planted the day Emily was born. And now she wanted it all gone because she had money. I whispered, "Emily, we bought that ticket together. Don't you remember? At the gas station. I even signed my name on it." She rolled her eyes, smirking as if I were a fool. "Dad, please. Who's going to believe you?" The ticket was in my hand. I claimed it. No one cares about some old man's scribbles. Her words cut me deeper than any rejection ever could. I wanted to scream, to fight, to tell her the world would punish this greed, but I couldn't. My heart was too heavy. My love for her was still stronger than my anger. So I simply picked up my suitcase, nodded slowly, and stepped out into the morning chill. As the door closed behind me, I heard laughter, her laughter. Not the innocent laugh of my little girl, but the hollow laugh of someone who believed money had replaced family. For the next few days, I wandered. I stayed at a small shelter in town, doing odd chores for food. People recognized me and asked, "Is it true? Your daughter won the lottery?" I smiled weakly, never telling them the truth. I couldn't bear to admit that she had thrown me away like trash. But fate has a strange way of working. One evening, as I sat on a park bench, I overheard two men talking. They mentioned Emily, her reckless spending, her arrogance, the way she flaunted her new wealth. But what struck me most was when one of them said, "Funny thing though, she never even checked the back of the ticket. The clerk at the store swears someone else's name was written there." My heart skipped a beat. So someone had noticed. The truth wasn't hidden forever. The seed of karma was already sprouting. I closed my eyes, whispering a prayer. Let her learn, God. Let her see what greed does. Don't punish her with poverty. Punish her with the truth. Because the truth had a way of catching up. And when it did, it wouldn't just take her money, it would break her pride. Life on the outside wasn't easy, but I survived. I swept floors at the shelter, shared bread with strangers, and watched the seasons change from a lonely bench. Each night, I wondered if Emily even thought of me, or if the roar of parties and clinking glasses had erased the memory of her father entirely. News about her reached me quickly. Small towns are like that. Rumors travel faster than trains. They said Emily had moved into a luxury apartment in the city. She bought a red sports car, the kind that roared louder than thunder. She posted pictures online, draped in designer clothes, surrounded by people who never cared about her before the money. The Emily I once knew, the girl who used to fall asleep in my lap, while I read bedtime stories, was gone. All that remained was someone hollow, someone who believed money could replace love, replace family, replace me. One afternoon, I ran into an old friend at the corner store. He shook his head and said, "Richard, I saw your Emily on TV. She was giving an interview about her win. But the strange part? When the reporter asked her about the ticket, she laughed and said she just grabbed it by chance. Never once did she mention you." I smiled sadly, though my heart ached. She had erased me completely. To the world, she was a self-made millionaire. To me, she was still my daughter, but one I no longer recognized. Days turned into weeks, and soon, the shelter where I stayed received visitors from the city, lawyers, bankers, even police officers asking about Emily. They weren't praising her success. They were investigating her debts, gambling, loans, lavish, spending she couldn't control. I sat quietly as I listened. 10 million sounds like forever money, but in greedy hands, it burns faster than paper. She was already sinking, though she hadn't realized it yet. That night, as I lay staring at the cracked ceiling above me, I remembered the ticket again, the scratch of my pen across the back, the way I had written my name without even thinking. Old habits. Years of signing receipts, checks, and work orders. My handwriting was everywhere in town. Anyone could recognize it. And suddenly, I understood. The ticket wasn't just paper. It was proof. Proof of who truly owned that fortune. Proof that Emily's empire of arrogance was built on sand. I whispered into the darkness. She thinks she cast me aside. But when the storm hits, she realized the ground beneath her was never hers to begin with. What Emily didn't know was that truth has patience. It waits, it lingers, and when it finally arrives, it doesn't knock politely. It tears the door down. And her door was about to collapse. It didn't take long for Emily's empire to crumble. The sports car was repossessed. The luxury apartment kicked her out. And the friends who once cheered her win disappeared like smoke. One by one, the people she trusted vanished, leaving her with bills stacked higher than her pride. I heard about it not from her, but from whispers in town. The bankers were furious. The casinos had taken her money. And the loans she borrowed to keep up her lifestyle were now crashing down on her. One rainy evening, as I sat outside the shelter, I saw her again. She wasn't wearing designer clothes. She wasn't glowing with laughter. She was drenched, mascara streaked down her cheeks, clutching a crumpled purse. She spotted me and froze. "Dad," she whispered, her voice breaking. For a moment, I almost stood to comfort her. But then I remembered the night she had packed my suitcase. The way she had smirked as if I were nothing. She dropped to her knees beside me, tears mixing with the rain. "They're taking everything. I have nothing left. Dad, please, help me. You're all I have." I looked into her eyes. For the first time in years, I didn't see arrogance, I saw fear. Real, raw fear. I reached into my old coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Her eyes widened when she saw it. The lottery ticket. Untouched, protected in plastic, the ink still bold. My name clear across the back. Her lips trembled. "No. This can't be." "Yes," I said softly. "It always belonged to me. You were too blinded by greed to notice." She tried to snatch it from my hand, but I pulled it back calmly. "Emily, money is nothing without family. You had everything, the love of a father who gave his whole life for you, and you threw it away for strangers and champagne glasses." Her sobs echoed in the night. "Please, Dad, don't leave me like this. I'll change. I swear." I stood, sliding the ticket back into my pocket. "I don't need the money anymore. But I needed you, Emily, and you chose 10 million over me. Now you'll understand what it feels like to be left with nothing." I walked away, my footsteps slow but steady. Behind me, I heard her crying louder than the storm. That night, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel rich. I felt the ache of a father who had lost his daughter long before the lottery ever came. But I also felt something else, justice. Because sometimes the harshest punishment isn't poverty. It's living with the memory of the love you destroyed.